Hello and welcome back to Odd Frequency. I'm your host, Dare, joined by
Monty. Hello.
This week we're doing a supplemental episode of the podcast. We're feeling a bit under the weather, so we were not able to set up the whole video podcast, so you will not be seeing us but hearing us this week. And it's also kind of the vibe, because it's very cold outside. It's chilly. We live in Southern California, but we've been hit by a storm, so we've been graced with rain, which is always a good thing and a bad thing for us. Good thing because it's nice to see a different type of weather other than sunny, and a bad thing because no one knows how to drive in it. So, lots of accidents.
Yeah, you summed it up pretty well. I feel like when it rains, it's always nice to just like take it in, but honestly, there's so many downsides to it raining too. I'm not going to lie.
We're also doing this in the comfort of our bed. So, as Monty explained earlier to me, this is our comfiest podcast that we've done yet. We're not sitting down. We're just enjoying the nice, cool air with a candle on for what we're about to discuss, and in the dark. We were told earlier this week about a video or something. I don't know how recent this is. Let me see. But it was one of those gore videos that pops up on the internet here or there. And I know we talked about it last week as well. But this one's actually very recent. It occurred last year. And I think it concluded in December of last year as well. So in January of 2025, last year, there was a murder and a dismemberment. And I can't pronounce the name, but the case is known as the Vietnamese butcher. And the perpetrator was eventually arrested in December. But what makes this so eerie is that it is a modern-day snuff film that was sold on the dark web and apps like Telegram. You can find the actual video circulating on the internet, although I wouldn't recommend looking it up. It is very graphic, it is very violent, and it's not something that you're used to seeing, because the reason this whole case gained such notoriety is because the victim in this case asked this to happen. They purposely sought out someone that would murder them for sexual pleasure. So, I know you saw it with me too.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad. It's not the worst thing I've seen. It was consensual. I feel like that was the most important part about it. The man was pleasuring himself, and as soon as he finished, I guess that's when the other person took action. I don't know if that man was suffering from post-nut clarity in that moment as soon as he came, but right after that moment, I believe his head was taken off of his body in 3 foul swoops.
Yeah, that was probably the quickest beheading I've ever seen on any video that I've ever seen on the internet. Like I said, the man that committed the violent act was arrested in December of last year, and if convicted, he may face life imprisonment or the death penalty. The other terrible part about this video was the fact that it was more than just a beheading. The video follows up with images of what happened to the body after the beheading, and that includes the full dismemberment of his entire body, and the fact that he cannibalized this person, proceeded to make a meal out of him, and it shows him going through the process of taking apart the body and taking out the innards and cooking it on a stove while wearing a creepy Guy Fawkes mask like the ones you see in V for Vendetta. So that was kind of strange. I can't think of a worse video I've actually seen recently. I know there was Funky Town, which had to do with the Mexican cartel, but you guys can go ahead and look at that one up for yourselves. I don't know. Sometimes our friend will just, message us or call us and ask us if we've seen a certain video, and it piques my curiosity at times, so I have to go searching for it. But I know you're not like that, are you?
No, I mean, I see what is shown to me. I'm not gonna not look at it if it's being shown to me. I guess my curiosity won't let me. Um, to be completely honest, whenever it does show up on my Instagram feed, it's always Instagram. Yeah, I sometimes watch it.
Really, Instagram for you, huh?
Yeah, my feed is pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Mine's always Twitter.
And Twitter's a popular one.
But for Twitter, it's like it's kind of weird because I have a lot of alt-right pages that I don't even follow. Right? That's just kind of what Twitter's made of now, or X, I guess, as it's called.
Honestly, a lot of those people already jumped ship.
Yeah, but there still are pages that are dedicated to posting gruesome stuff like that. What's your opinion on pages that do that? Do you think they're doing a disservice to the world by showing people that gruesome side of it? Or do you think it's important that people understand that these things are happening? Because I know...
No, I don't think it's important that people understand these things are happening. I think it's important to always train yourself that those are possibilities, and that to always be wary of your surroundings and other people. But I don't think people need to be shown that. I think that's very traumatizing.
I disagree in some cases. I think the atrocities that are being committed in Gaza right now are some of the worst things that I've seen shown through social media, and I think that people trying to censor what's actually happening over there is a terrible thing. So
I don't condone that. If it's an effort to I guess show people the truths of what is war crimes that are being committed, I think that's very important. But if it's just some snuff film, like you said prior, then yeah, I don't think people need to have access to something like that at all times.
I guess that's fair. That is fair.
I think those things are usually probably behind some sort of wall where you need to be 18 or over to view. And a lot of the times when I do see that stuff, I'm not really you don't really have to go digging for it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone. I mean, at least recently. I know I discussed it last week that when I was a teenager, it was more like the thing to do, right? You just look at gore websites, but as an adult, I haven't really gone out of my way to search for things like that. I tend to hear what's going on in the world, and the death of another human being is not something that I take very lightly anymore, I guess. Especially with everything going on, not just across, not just international or globally, I should say, but locally too. I think there's been a lot of things that have happened in the last few months here in the United States that I can say are pretty horrific. And then with everything coming out about, the ICE detention facilities, I don't know if you've heard recently, but ICE has gone out of their way to confiscate a lot of the letters that ICE detainees are trying to send out to people, including letters written by children, pictures that have been drawn by children in these facilities.
Well, not to mention, but I've seen people on that have pages on TikTok. They are someone that works in the field of law, and it would require them to speak to someone that could have been detained for whatever reason. They need to get access to this person. It's just impossible. You cannot speak to those people that are in those detention centers. They're have you seen the video of that kid that tried to bring his dad medicine? His heart medicine after he was taken by ICE?
I have not. I heard about it, but
yeah, he had handed it to someone that he believed would give it to his father, and he just kind of laughed. So the kid was left with the impression that the dad's probably not going to get his medicine. It's horrible.
These are some of the most sociopathic and evil people that I've ever heard about running these facilities. And I know they recently tried to buy a mega warehouse somewhere in Texas, and I know that the company that was selling the warehouse outright refused to sell it to the Department of Homeland Security because they knew what it would be turned into. And
Well, did
and
it the
kudos
detention
to
center?
them.
What would it be turned into?
It would have been turned into a giant detention center. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they don't do it
And-
there, they're going to do it somewhere else.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm sure whoever was selling that property basically said, "I don't want that on my conscience, and I don't stand by that, so I'm not going to sell it to you."
That's good. I mean,
And honestly, many more companies who are approached about those specific opportunities should also decline. It's a crazy world right now, and it's very disappointing to see how far we've regressed in our country. I don't remember there ever being a time like this in my entire life, and I just happened to be an adult during this, and I'm sure like our parents have seen something similar, whether that's living through, you know, the Cold War, but for the entire breakdown of our government branches just degrading the way they have in the past few years.
yeah, and I promise
kind
you,
of
it's not going to
insane.
go unpunished.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to discuss the future because I think that with all the censorship happening right now, I don't think that's necessarily something that we should really discuss, just in the sense that like, oh, we wish this to happen to this, or we wish that to happen to, those aren't things we should really go down. But I can say this in regards to that topic is just that I hope that all hope is not lost, and that something better is over the horizon, and that, you know, people are still able to make a change, and that we haven't gone too far.
It's
And
never
that-
too far.
Well, I mean, you never know. You never know. We thought, you know, I keep seeing this thing in the media where every time something horrible happens, they keep saying, you know, we're at an inflection point. We're at an inflection point. Like, this is it. Like, this is the turning point.
Well, I mean, they keep saying that doomsday arrow turns
okay.
closer, like the clock gets shorter and shorter.
But I'm not talking about doomsday, though. I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm talking about specifically our country. All I'm saying is that the media keeps saying that this is the final turning point. This is, you know, this is the beginning of the revolution, and I do not see it. It is simply another case of, you know, you get angry about it, you talk about it, and then 2 weeks later you forget about it and wait for something else to come around and piss you off. And I don't know, like, I see people protesting. You know, we've been to these protests before. We've talked to these people, and the heart's in the right place. But I genuinely don't know if we have the power to change things as much as we think. I think we just have to wait and see if the true inflection point, the true turning point actually occurs. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but I can tell you based on previous events that it's not going to look good. It's not going to be good.
I'm always hopeful.
I mean, that's all you can be sometimes. That's all you can be. And I hope that for the next generation that's born or that is about to enter adulthood, you know, I hope they continue to make the necessary changes. I hope they continue to go out and vote and make the necessary changes to better our society as a whole. And I'm hoping that with the internet and things like TikTok and social media being such a prevalent thing in our lives, that the digital natives of the future will come together and agree on a agree on morals in general, I guess. I think it's easier now to, social media kind of transcends cultures and languages and all sorts of barriers. So I think that the future generation will definitely be in a better place to make those changes than we are or we were in the past few years, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. I was watching a video earlier on it was an interview with a Navajo man who works for his tribe that's out in Arizona, the Navajo tribe, and he's an EMS. He's a I don't know if that's a paramedic or what are they called? I guess it just EMT. He just works for emergency medical, and it's interesting because he's telling his whole story about how he got into the field and what that experience is like, and then at the end of it, he started talking about skinwalkers and his experience, witnessing them out on the reservation. And the concept of a skinwalker is really terrifying. Do you know anything about skinwalkers?
No, I'm like trying to imagine what this man is even talking about.
So, from what he was saying, a skinwalker is a person who is capable of shape-shifting, and the only reason that they're given this power is because they have involved themselves with death, and the way they're able to shapeshift is by using the skin of an animal that they want to shapeshift into in order to shapeshift. But the power, like I said, it comes from being involved with death, and that includes, I guess, one of the things you have to do in order to become a skinwalker and to gain this power is that you have to kill a close loved one.
It's like oddly specific.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of their culture, their beliefs.
What about people that have killed like loved ones and aren't skinwalkers?
Well, the thing is, it's a Native American thing. It's a Navajo culture. It says that skinwalkers are malevolent, shape-shifting witches capable of turning into animals, wolves, coyotes, foxes, owls, to inflict harm, sickness, or chaos. Rooted in Navajo, Apache, and Ute folklore, I hope I pronounced that right, they represent the antithesis of Navajo values and are feared entities. Modern interpretations often confuse them with mimic monsters or werewolves. I've seen some images of what they look like depictions of what they would look like, and it's kind of terrifying.
Does it look biblical?
They're like,
oh, it looks like found footage.
well, I mean, yeah, but it's just the shape. They have very thin limbs. I don't know if you remember this one from like the early days of the internet. I think that was called the rake.
I think I could see an Adobe After Effects brushstroke.
Wow, you're crazy.
Just kidding.
But yeah, they're said to just wear the skin of the animals that they want to transform into, and they just prowl around.
Well, you know what? I don't know what's out there. All I know is that at night in the woods, it's nothing but the sound of nature. And you don't know what's in that darkness.
The woods aren't the things that scare me. Like, I'm not scared of the woods. I'm more scared of the desert.
The desert where you can see what's ahead of you?
The thing is, like, the desert, like, imagine on a moonless night, it's pitch black. You don't know what's out there.
Yeah, it'd be pitch black in a forest too, would it not?
Oh, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, there's still, like, coverage. You can still find, like, the desert's like you're out.
I don't see it as coverage. I more see it as, like, more places for something to hide.
I mean, I guess you could see it like that too, but imagine, like, the Middle East and, like, the desert out there.
Imagine in the Middle East right now.
Okay.
Okay.
No need to be a smartass.
I was not being a smartass. I'm just making a joke. But continue.
So in the middle of the desert, right, or in the desert in the Middle East,
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing but just it's deserted. I mean, there's no resources for you to gather. There's nothing out there. So if you're
Yeah,
alone
but
out
that's
there,
exactly how I see it. I see it as nothing out there.
well, exactly, which means that if you see something out there that's prowling around and doesn't look human but is somewhat human,
That would be terrifying.
no, exactly. You've seen the video of the witch, right? In the
The
desert.
witch?
Yeah. I swear you've seen it.
I don't know why when you
You've
said that, I
seen it.
immediately thought of the witch from Left 4 Dead.
No, not the witch from Left 4 Dead.
That witch would be
No,
terrifying.
the here, let me play this for you.
You don't
And
need to play it.
no,
Just
we're
visually,
we're gonna play it.
well,
We're
just
gonna play it.
explain what you're seeing.
Oh, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. I don't. Hold on. Let me see.
He's searching something right now on TikTok.
Let me see. Is this it? Yeah, this one. You guys are gonna
Oh,
hear
I
it
definitely
too.
have seen this video.
So the whole idea for that one is that these guards are patrolling the desert, or I think it's military, and they come across what they believed was an old woman, and it starts hobbling towards them. And if I saw that in the middle of the desert,
Well, yeah, I mean, the scariest fact is that, like, why is there an old woman by herself? Like, the only thing that is providing any sort of light is the fact that they're in a car. It's like, how did this person get here? Like, I wouldn't immediately not think that this person, like, got here by themselves. I'm like, what is this? This is not normal. It's terrifying. That is a very terrifying situation.
so that's kind of why the desert scares me, because I guess I'm used to like the forest, and I can't, like, what's a creature from the forest that you would be scared of? Like, I don't.
The thing is, I don't need to,
Like, yeah, we can talk about
pretend like one exists, because I'm not gonna know it exists. I feel like me being like terrified in the moment would be something that I couldn't explain, or something I wouldn't expect.
Yes, I know we can talk about natural things, right? We can talk about bears and whatever's out in the forest, but I'm talking about, like, I can't even, if we're, like, let's talk strictly folklore, right? Like Sasquatch, Bigfoot, those are pretty basic things that might live in
Those
the
are the
forest.
same thing, right?
Well, yeah, they're the same thing, right? But there's like the Jersey Devil, Mothman.
You terrified of Mothman?
I'm not really terrified of Mothman. I find Mothman, he's one of my favorite, or Mothman is one of my favorite cryptids.
Yes, one of your favorite things to get in as a keychain.
Yes, a keychain.
Not to fear.
I have a keychain. I have a skin in Fortnite.
And you sound pretty terrified of Mothman.
I didn't say I was terrified of Mothman, but that's the thing. I'm not terrified of, like, those creatures have become so beloved, right? Same thing with aliens. I mean, everyone has like a keychain of an alien, a UFO keychain. Like, we find those things cool. But I'm talking about the shit that goes bump in the night. I'm talking about like witches in the desert, and like Mexican folklore, like shit that, like,
Devils.
yeah, like demons, like demonic shit, right?
Yeah.
That's the shit that I want to see more of, because
Yeah, but define demonic to you, because I feel like
I don't know.
we can have different ideas of what that's like. I mean, obviously you're referencing the video that you said, witches in the desert. That is the only example of a witch in the desert I've ever seen.
Okay, I mean, that's fair, but I mean, still it applies.
Okay, let me ask you this: what about something like Blair Witch? Would that situation terrify you?
That I'm not talking about things that from movies. I don't want to, like, once it's been made into a movie, I'm kind of over it.
Then Mothman's been made into a movie.
What movie?
Mothman. Search up Mothman movie. It exists.
No,
I promise you.
Like, once again, I'm not scared of Mothman. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, shit that's actually captured by people just out and about.
That stuff is terrifying, but I need to see an example.
Well, I
I
don't
love
know.
examples.
Well, I would love to give you an example, but like one in today's modern age, it's going to be very hard to find something that's not AI or not
Exactly.
fabricated. No,
That's my
I
point.
understand, but you need to experience it. That's the thing. That's why when I'm talking to people, I'll always ask them like, "What's your scariest experience? What's your, what's a story that you heard that really like chilled you to your core?" And the reason I like asking that is because those things cannot be fabricated. I mean, they can be fabricated. Like obviously they're stories, but what I'm saying is like they leave more to the imagination than a video is gonna leave because obviously AI can replicate whatever.
Well, also, do you feel that because you are hearing the story from someone's perspective that you're getting like a more, I don't know, like personal experience instead of just like a video that could be altered?
Well, yeah. Also, because it's like if it's from a trusted source, you can tell when someone's, telling it with like they're actually, telling the truth. Especially if it's someone you know. Like, if if you told me a story, and you've told me a story before that you've experienced something that you
Mm-hmm.
can't explain, stuff like that. Like it's one of those things where you hear it and you're like, that actually freaks me out a little bit. Like if I experienced that, like that would freak me out.
I wish I would experience it again, like as an adult. It happened so long ago. I mean, I lose. I feel like every time I tell a story, like sometimes it changes every single time
I
because
don't.
it's
I
been
don't.
so
I
long.
think it's been pretty general. I mean, you've told me it multiple times, and I think that each time it's been pretty similar. I don't think it's changed. Or
I guess I'll tell it again.
if you want to, go for it. But I know you
Just
said you had
because
something
I'm
else.
bringing it up and
Okay.
some people are listening and don't even know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right, so my experience with the supernatural. I was young. I want to say I was. God, I'm like at this point I'm just like deciding an age, probably like 10, maybe, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. Just I'm gonna say 10 is the age that I'm thinking of right now. I have a younger brother. He is 4 years younger than me. So at this point, he would have been, let's just say 6 then. So we were in our kitchen. The thing about this particular story is that it took place at night. Usually, a lot of the best ones do. Um, I can't remember any parental figure being like even available in this story. I just remember being very late and the house was dark and me and my brother were playing in the kitchen, which the kitchen light was on. The light being a very like strong yellow light. So this is like the setting for this story. So we are both in our pajamas and we're swinging around plastic like lightsabers. I'm sorry, that we got from Target. I remember them retracting from the saber part. And this is just like me adding detail to the story just so I can like fully remember it. But I remember looking at my brother who was a good distance from me. Enough distance for us to like play fight with lightsabers, right? And I remember just staring at him and him not even being like able to touch me, like we're just apart from each other right now. So I'm looking at him, and then just randomly out of the blue, I hear screaming, and it's not screaming like, oh, screaming from another room or screaming from outside the house. The scream is coming from directly in front of my face, as if someone was standing in front of me and screamed to like startle me. So it scared me, and I fell backwards because I was so well. The thing is, I didn't just fall. After I heard that scream, I felt like I was shoved. And as I was shoved, I'm staring at my brother. So I know it's not him pushing at me. So I'm feeling like pressure as if someone pushed out their hands in front of me, hitting both like my shoulders or like the middle chest area. And then, yeah, I fell on my ass. And I just remember falling down too, like just staring at my brother. I'm like, what was that? So I was, as I'm sitting down, the adrenaline is just like, it's saving me pretty much like from everything. I'm just kind of not feeling anything but just fear. Like, what was that? I'm just kind of terrified. So I'd start crying. My brother walked up to me or ran up to me. He asked if I was okay. And I said, yeah, but I basically said like, oh, I'm done playing. I'm done playing. I don't think I ever brought it up to him at that moment, but I just remember us going to sit in the couch and just watching whatever was on late at night. Usually, like, they play a lot of old cartoons later at night. So I feel like that is what we sat down to watch after that. And that was my story.
You mentioned earlier you had something else scary that you wanted to talk about, but you didn't say what it was.
Maybe it was just me bringing up that story because I feel like I haven't talked about it yet on this podcast.
I think you have.
Oh,
But long ago.
Yeah,
I
long
think
ago, a year ago.
No, I think it was when we lived back in.
A year ago.
No, I'm like, how many times have we told this story?
Probably a couple. I mean,
it's a good story.
I'm just saying the same story over and over again because I don't have any other stories to tell that are kind of like supernatural themed or just ghost themed.
I can't even like, as interested as I am in, the paranormal and just scary stuff like that. I don't have a super detailed story like that to give. And if I did, I'm sure I've already told it. I'm trying to think. I only know like the stories that I'm told from other people. And the one I like to bring up a lot because there's an image related to it is the story from our close friend who was staying with family at one point, and he was sending Snapchats to another person, and this was back then when Snapchat didn't have like the chat feature, and it was you had to take a picture and then put text on the picture in order to communicate things. And so he just took a picture of his hallway randomly. Keep in mind he's home alone, and he sent it to I don't know, a friend, a cousin, forgot who it was, but that person sends a snap back like, hey, who is that? Like, what is that in your hallway? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he looks back at the picture, and in the hallway, there is a face peeking around the corner. And, he's telling me the story, and I don't think he had the picture yet, but eventually he found the picture, and he sent it to me. And it's probably one of the creepiest things that I have ever seen. I'll go ahead and put the picture up on the screen at the end of this episode so you can see it for yourself. But it's pretty creepy. And the only other time I've seen anything like that is on some old TikTok video that I saw where some lady's, sitting on her couch in the living room, and her dog starts freaking out, and she sees like a shadow basically move into the hallway. And that was a really creepy video. But I digress. That's pretty much all I have to offer on that subject right now until I can think of it. I'm sure I have something in the back of my mind somewhere. And when I do, I will eventually share it with you all. But for right now, this is going to be the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And we'll see you next week with our video podcast all over again. And we'll talk more about, whatever happens in the world, really. I mean, there's a lot of creepy stuff happening behind the scenes and a lot of things that I do want to talk about, but I'm kind of scared to talk about because, one, it's like not everything can be verified. And two, I kind of don't want a set of eyes on me that may or may not be government related. So once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.